This is a really smart horror film for a slasher film,
Uh-huh.
especially. How did you get involved and what drew you to the story?
Well, it actually came to me as a fake movie trailer that just appeared online about 5 or 6 years ago and said it was directed by me. And it was a movie called Clown, where a guy puts on this clown suit. And everyone started calling me, and my email was blowing up, and people were saying, like, and this before social media, really, so I couldn't quite dispel the myth. It was like only MySpace pages, so
Yeah.
it was hard to track down the guys who did it. Of course, I did, and I called them up and I said, I love it. Do you guys want to actually turn this into a feature? And it was John Watts and his writing partner, Chris Ford, and they said, thank you for not suing us. And I said, no, this is Hollywood. We only sue after things are successful. There's no point suing you guys now. You don't have any money. But I looked at John's work, and he's this fantastic commercial and music video director, really, really fantastically, just incredibly talented guy. And he and Chris Ford had written this movie, Frank and Robot. And they said, yeah, we have an idea for a feature. So I developed a feature with them. And even before we went into production, Bob Weinstein came in and said, we want this movie. We're going to release it. Wow. So, now John's directing Spider-Man. So,
what is the deal? Why do you think so many genre filmmakers, him, James Wan, they're all going to superhero? Why do you think that is?
Well, the business is changing to such a degree that you're finding that movies are kind of small VOD releases, or it's Marvel. And clearly what audiences are going to and what theaters are booking are Star Wars movies and these kind of event superhero films. So it's certainly, they're a lot of fun. You get a lot of money to play with. I mean, it's interesting. It's a whole other universe that's happening right now. And I think that, they're great movies, and filmmakers are attracted to that.
Well, what about you? I mean, as a filmmaker, does that drive you, or do you still kind of prefer to stay in like the Green Inferno or this kind of horror?
It's interesting, when you're making a movie at that kind of Marvel studio level, and I haven't done this, so I speak this from ignorance, it's a very different kind of process, and you are making their movie. And when you're James Gunn, you can come out with a movie that really has your personality, but it's doing the James Gunn version of a Marvel movie, and they're amazing. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. That to me is like studio filmmaking at its best, where you have the talent and the resources, and they're all making the same movie. The movies that I've made, the Green Inferno, it's just such a crazy idea to do a cannibal movie that it's not really a mainstream kind of film. The fact that it actually came out in theaters, in this day and age is pretty great. It's kind of miraculous. A film like Clown, John Watts, I really wanted to give him the opportunity to make a very dark, strange, interesting movie. He really wanted to make a movie like The Fly, not just do a typical slasher. And John and Chris are such intelligent writers. They didn't make the kind of obvious, scary slasher film. And that's what I think the film's strength is that they really made this kind of strange, scary, disturbing character piece where you're watching this guy turn into a clown, and they really explore every aspect of that. And that's the fun of doing a movie like this, is you can make it really dark, and you can kill kids, and you can take chances, and you can do things that would be sort of taken out of a more mainstream movie. So that's the fun of doing movies like this. I don't know if I necessarily want to stick to doing those. I love them, and my heart is always in them, and I'll always have a hand in them. But I'd certainly like to try and flex my muscles and see how well I do in the studio space as well.
Well, I also think, like you said, you can go a lot darker with this but I also appreciate that with this film, he took it seriously. It's not a joke.
No, it's not a joke. It's not. I mean, look, we grew up on Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and it was fantastic. But we wanted to make a very disturbing, scary clown movie, and the idea was to create another monster like Freddy or Jason. But that's really up to the fans. I mean, the filmmakers, you just create the best film you can. But with John, it was his first feature, and he had me there to protect him. So we had a terrific partner in Vertebra Films, this producer named Matt Cappuccino, who I did Aftershock with. He financed both movies.
Oh, nice.
And they were great. They really, really let us go crazy, and I could really help John and be a creative sounding board for him whenever he needed me. But my job as the producer was to help him develop the script. We really, really spent a long time hammering out the mythology before we made the movie. I said, if the mythology isn't airtight, the movie's not going to work. We can't have like lingering questions we don't address. And we've got to, whatever mythology we create, we have to stick to it. So we really spent a long time on that. And the guys, they're just so talented. I can't say enough great things. it's easy as a producer when you have a filmmaker as talented as John Watts. You can really just kind of sit back and let them do their thing and be there whenever they need you.